White paint is supposed to be easy, but choosing the right white, it'll make you question everything. I've tried them all. Warm whites, cool whites, clean whites, creamy whites, and after all the testing, all the second guessing, and more than a few mistakes, these are the only ones I trust. I'm James, and if there's one paint category that trips up more people than any other, it's white. The undertones, the lighting, the finish, all of it matters. Way more than you'd expect. And because I've worked with hundreds of clients and tested dozens of white in my own homes, I've narrowed it down to a handful that actually work. Not just on TikTok, not just in perfect lighting, in real homes. Whether you're painting walls, ceilings, cabinets, or trim, these are the white paints I keep coming back to. Choosing the right white paint is one thing, but actually seeing it in your home, that's the real secret. And that's where this video's sponsor, Samplize, comes in. Before landing on these final white paints I went with, I tested all of them with Samplize's peel and stick samples, which saved me so much time and hassle. My samples arrived overnight, which meant I could compare and choose fast. I wasn't guessing from a screen. I wasn't looking at a tiny little swatch. I got to see real colors in my actual space with my own lighting. I love the large format here, which made it very easy to move them around without a mess or having to paint swatches on every single wall. I was able to compare whites from Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams, and there was even a Pharaoh and Ball one I threw in, all in the same order. And the best part, they're 100% accurate, made with real paint, not just printed color approximations. And when you're choosing between whites that are this close to each other, a tiny undertone shift makes all the difference. Skip the guesswork and try Samplize today. I'll leave their link down below. So to start things off, we have the best all-around white. It's Benjamin Moore's Super White. No surprise to my subscribers watching. If you need a crisp, clean, no-nonsense white that works on trim, walls, and even cabinetry, Super White delivers. It's bright but not cold, modern but not stark, and what makes it stand out is the lack of strong undertones. There's a whisper of warmth, but it stays neutral in most lights. I've used it on walls in those more minimal modern homes, definitely on trim, baseboards, and doors for that higher contrast white without going towards like a blue undertone, and also as a ceiling color for maximum light reflectance and brightness. Just keep in mind, it's not forgiving on imperfect walls. Any little blemishes and scuffs, they're going to be super visible with such a bright white, but when done right, this color looks incredible. The best white for cabinets, Benjamin Moore's White Dove. White Dove is my go-to for cabinetry. It has just enough warmth to avoid feeling clinical, but not so much that it reads yellow or old oil paint that is kind of discolored over time. It pairs beautifully with brass, black, wood, you name it. And because it has a slightly softer edge, it doesn't overpower the rest of your design, which is great if you have a really fun backsplash or your countertop is a really cool, interesting stone. White Dove is not going to pull focus. A little bonus here too, I find it to be a great bridge between warm-toned countertops and cooler flooring, which is more common than you think. The best warm white for walls, Sherwin-Williams Alabaster and Shoji White. I just couldn't pick one here because sometimes you need some optionality. Alabaster is kind of a creamy, timeless, and still one of the most flattering warm whites out there. And I find it adds enough depth and softness without making a room feel overly yellowy. And Shoji White is a bit more saturated, a bit more complex, creamier, with a touch of grayish as well that makes it feel more grounded. So if your home has a mix of wood tones and you're looking for warmth and balance, Shoji is your answer. So where to use these colors? Living rooms that get lots of natural light, hallways, bedrooms where you want a slightly cocooning feel, not in terms of depth necessarily, more so the warmth. Open concept spaces that need continuity. Perfect choices here. These are the kinds of whites that make a house feel lived in and not necessarily staged. Best clean color wash, Benjamin Moore's Oxford White. When I want a space to feel bright, airy, but still soft, Oxford White becomes a very good pick. It's cleaner than White Dove, but not necessarily as stark as Super White. The subtle gray softness in it keeps it from going too warm, and that makes it super versatile for walls and ceilings especially. I like using Oxford White when I want a seamless look, like when the walls and the ceilings are all the same color, just in different finishes. I know it sounds kind of dramatic, dogmatic to say one white paint is totally better than another. But when you're living with it every day, lighting it at night and styling it with your furniture, it matters a lot. These are the white paints that have earned their place in my go-to list, not because they're trendy, but because they work, and they have worked for me. If you want to see how some of these white paints pair with more saturated colors, go check out this video next. It's full of real-life color combos that I promise will surprise you.